Hey, we're back in the shop today, and we're going to get this door aligned and get the gaps nice and even around it, and see if I can start working on gapping it. I want to get the driver's side needed a lot of welding to the whole bottom edge of the door, and a little bit on this bottom corner right here. I want to make sure the door's in the door position, lined up with the quarter. The only really alignment I have is these two body lines. I just want to make sure they look good and get a nice even gap along the rocker panel. And then we'll work on shaving this door lock and latch. Not latch, but the door lock, the lock. So we'll work on getting the door lock and door handle shaved. I'll go ahead and make another inside piece here that I've made right there. You can barely see it, but that's the internal door handle. I'll make another one of those, and that way I can reach in here and just open the door without having to struggle once I shave all the mechanism off. But this is the last panel that's going to get a little filler before I do a prime. So I'm really on the home stretch here as far as body work goes. The entire driver's side's done. The rear's done. The front is done. It needs a little work on that. It needs a little work here on this front panel, which that's the front panel that goes along the front edge of the bottom of the bumper there. And I'll fill the bumper as well like I did the rear. But I mean, we're in the home stretch right here, so I'm really excited. And we'll get this door, like I said, get it cleaned up. We'll get it stripped, and because the center of that door had some trim on it, and it got filled years ago, and I want to get it all off and make sure I don't find anything that's going to come back and haunt me when I put a nice paint job on this car. So let's get to it. So I'm going to start the passenger side door latch assembly that I've kind of made up and mocked up. You can see the little tube here. I've drilled in tap. Well, I didn't drill in tap, but I drilled a hole there in the door. And the same spot here, I'm going to sink this little piece of tubing in the door, and I'll weld it to this plate. And it'll go all the way through, and then I'll have a nylock nut on the back side of this panel to hold everything in place, and that'll be my stud. Now, this is a little long, and I'll cut it to length. Once I get the door panel figured out, I'll cut it to length and may even end up shrinking it down a little bit more, and could even be flush, but it sticks out a pretty good bit, and that's just to give me a little room to play with. If I sunk it all the way in, then if I had to add to it, then it'd be a problem. So the general idea is to have the door latch itself, the latch kind of blend in with the armrest, so you don't see it. It's underneath it, so you just see the armrest and a clean door panel, and no distractions. In my opinion, that's what it kind of is. So it's just a nice clean door panel, and I'll do some sort of a clean design on it just to kind of go with the theme of the car a little bit. So yeah, let's get started. I'll get another hole drilled in here. My dull drill bit kind of just marked it up a little bit, so I'm gonna get a new drill bit and go ahead and drill the hole, and we'll get it set up. And I've already shown the door latch assembly. I've got the solenoid attached to it. That's the factory latch, and I'll mount that in there, and we'll get that rigged up. But let's get this drilled out. All right, so now my little tube will fit in there, and like I said, I'll weld it to here and run my bolts in there, and that'll hold my handle until I can get it figured out, until I can get 100% nailed down. So drill it all the way through, as you can see. So let's get that attached, and I'll get my rod welded up so I can get to the latch. And also forgot that I went ahead and got rid of the door lock button hole, or whatever you want to call it. So the door on the driver's side has been body worked and all that, so it's nice and smoothed out. So I'll also get rid of that and just further clean up the door and get rid of all the unnecessary stuff that I don't want on it. Well, I pulled the passenger side door off here to do a little cleaning on it and get it ready for some prime or some body fill and body work. But I have found the whole bottom edge of this door, and this is an old repair. It looks like I did, because this was a pretty pristine car as far as it hadn't been touched. Not to say it didn't have rust in it, but the whole bottom edge of this door is pretty much shot. So what my intention or plan is just to kind of cut this into sections, because I don't have a way of bending the entire piece or the talent or skill to make it look good. So I'm going to take smaller bites and go down this door and fix this rot. What I'll probably end up doing is cutting into this bottom edge of this sill here, because it's kind of pitted, and just build this piece all the way into fold underneath that door skin. Probably cut out here and, just going down the door. It's got some right here in the skin, things of that nature. So basically the whole bottom edge of this door needs to be fixed. So that's the plan of attack, and then we can get started on finishing up the rest of the work. I did gone ahead and got rid of the door lock and fixed the structure here where I had to add this little kick up for my pin to push the door open, my popper, if you will. But focusing on the bottom edge of the door today, and it's a lot of work. So let's get to it. I just went through and ground the edge of the skin that's folded over because I realized I was trying to peel it open a little bit, but I realized it's spot welded in a few hundred spots. So I'm not going to go through and drill all those out. So I'll just pull the skin away and I'll retack that and roll it over and be fine. Or smooth it over, I mean. So just a little bit easier in my opinion to get that out. I'm going to cut right through here and start pulling this out. We'll start replacing it as we go. Try not to mangle it too bad so I can use it as a pattern. Pretty nasty right there. Oh boy, what a can of worms. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this here because this was my previous attempt at a repair, which was shit. And I'm gonna just weld to that. So I'm gonna use this as a pattern and get that piece of metal out of my finger. And we'll just use a little piece of sheet metal here and bend it and a couple of angles here and try to replicate this best we can. What I'll probably end up doing is not using a piece to fold it and replicate that. I don't know, it just seems like kind of silly to fake it. I'll just run the panel down there and weld it. And I don't know, it's the bottom of the door, so I mean, as long as it's solid, who really cares what it looks like to me, honestly. I've got the whole edge of the door to do, so it's not really like, I think my repair will be all right. A lot better than this repair. This was just garbage. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. Let's see. I don't know if it'd be a good idea or not to kind of bring that edge out a little bit and double it over so I have some meat to weld to here. Since I've cut that flange off the skin of the door. I'll probably try to do that. Double it over and weld it. I'll bring this edge of this panel here out a little, this thickness, and I'll fold it back over and make it look like that edge. and then get some meat to weld to instead of just single. Give something for the skin to hold on to, and hopefully bring it back to this look right here. That's about the only solid piece I have left. So kind of before I start bending the sheet metal here, I want to kind of make a pattern and get an idea of what to expect in the bend and what I want to see. Got a thin piece of HVAC duct steel here, and it's really easy to bend. And bend it up a couple of times and tried a few different pieces. And I think that's what I want to go with. Obviously that top's got to come down up a little bit, but I want to fold this over double to match this thickness and give me something to weld to. I think it would make it look a little better. Like I say, even though it's the bottom of the door, no one really gives a shit. It's there, and I want to make it best I can. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bend my piece here, the length of it, and I'll trim it to fit this. And we'll try to get started on that. So that's it. Let's get to it. All right, so I've got it doubled over, and it looks pretty darn good. Looks like the hemmed edge of the door skin. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll put it in place and get her welded up, and I think it'll look pretty dang good. That's a win. I want to do something with this. You can kind of see a little bit of a spot there too that's kind of eat through. I'm going to try to fix that while I got it open. And probably do the same thing here. Just weld those up. Alright, so the difference between my panel and the factory panel is got these drain holes for the door. So I would like to, what I'm going to do is probably measure these two here, because those are just the closest two, and they look the most decent. So we'll measure these two here and get a distance, and we'll start replicating. Probably need to do at least 2 in this panel, and try to replicate that best I can. So I'm gonna get a drill bit and I'll just drill it out and file it and, you know, just clean the hole up a little bit. So let's get that. I was able to weld up little rust through holes here on the edge of the door, and I'll get that ground off and it'll look nice. It fought me a little bit in here, especially. It's just thin sheet metal, and that's just the nature of it. You get a hot weld on, it's gonna burn it. So it's coming along. Like I said, this is kind of bad, pitted wise, and I don't know if I want to dig that out or not. I think if I can get this to weld to it, it'll be all right. It's like I said, it's the bottom of the door. It's not a big deal. I can fill over it with some body fill and smooth it out. And I'm not gonna load it up with mud and build the bottom of the door out of mud though, but it'll have a little bit in it. No big deal. Anyway, let's get these drain holes put in here. So the panel is made. I went ahead and cut the drain holes. Ended up needing 3, but that's okay. So I just measured the distance between these two centered, and then I got a drill bit that was big enough. You can see they're not perfect, but they will definitely fit the bill and do the job. So now I'm going to flip this door over and work on this little spot here. You can see there's kind of a wave here. The metal is actually stretched. I'm really not sure what I can do to fix that. I'm going to try to weld the holes up there in the door skin, and maybe that heat will help kind of pull this panel and get it back. But what I'll end up doing eventually, once I put this panel in place, probably end up clamping this in place when I weld it, and that should help hold it in a lot better, get that metal straightened out as best I can. And you know, you can only do so much with what I got. So short of getting a new door, that's about all I can do. So we'll get it, we'll fix it. When the end results will be amazing, I promise. So I had a pretty wild idea. This panel, the way it was wavy, as you can see, it's not nearly as wavy as it just was. I started hitting it with a dolly and hammer, and I realized I'm just kind of stretching it back out more and more as I hit it. So I got my shrinker die out, my shrinker tool. I stuck the door up in there and kick shrunk it a few times, and now it's very much stronger. It doesn't have that oil can in it at all. So as awkward as that was, I couldn't film it because I didn't want to embarrass myself on camera, but it actually worked. So you know, same theory applies. I just shrank it, and it kind of bunched that metal back together because it's just been overstretched right there. So hey, it worked. You got to try it every now and then, I guess. What's to lose at this point? So I'm gonna get it flipped back over. I got the spot little holes welded up, and they welded up pretty nicely. And it will need some fill here, no doubt about it. I don't really have a way of, I mean, I'm kind of still working on it, but I don't think it's gonna get much better. But I'm gonna keep working on it and keep trying. But it's not a lot of fill, but it is some. But the bottom edge of this door looks so much better than the passenger side. It was pretty thin through here. So a few little spots here and there, and we'll get this backside welded back up, and we'll get on to fixing that. So let's keep on at it. Still a little bit ugly here, but that's just weld. I got to grind down and dress a little better. This one turned out a little better because I didn't have to go up on this lip here. It was in pretty good shape, so I just stayed down here. I want to get these welds dressed up I will go ahead and drill out some more of the drain holes. I think I cut out 2, and I cut right at the top edge of the hole. So that's why I didn't put them in before I built this panel. I did like I did on this one because I had to go up a little bit further. But other than that, I found a little spot here on the corner of the door. So I cut that away, and I've been hammering on this to kind of build this flange up. And I gotta do a little more hammering on it. But yeah, just fight me a little bit and we'll get it done. I've got one little hole here to fill because this was the original old window regulator, which is no longer being used. I'm gonna get rid of that and just clean the rest of this up and get it ready for some body work. So it's taking a lot more work than I was thinking it was going to. Anyway, we'll get this worked out and let's get it welded in. We'll try to wrap this up for the day. So we are making some progress, making sure to get the door jambs nice and slicked up and smooth. And just doing a little bit more filler here in the corners. Mostly where the quarter panel was welded to the rocker. There was a drop step there, and it's just covered up with a piece of aluminum for the footwell here. I plan on running something that looks, something similar to the one that was in it. I may want to make my own or have something 3D printed or just something, a little logo or something in it, something different. I do want to change that. So thinking that way, I went ahead, I wanted to make sure the jambs were nice and smooth. Where I open the door, I can see down in here. So I'm taking my time to make sure I get all that nice and smoothed up. And just a few little spots here where you can see in front of the hinge. This is pretty slick. So all in all, I'm just smoothing out what you can see when it's painted. The under here is going to be coated in the bed liner, painted to color match to the outside of the car, but it will be bed liner. So I'm feeling a lot of that will be covered up, and a lot of the little sins and just little nicks and things like spot welds and things of that nature. All that should cover up with the bed liner. So I'm just going through, like I said, and covering up the rocker, smoothing up the rocker, and got to do some sanding there on the corner. And then just all in all makes it look, I think it looks a lot better. It's custom, so it's going to be smooth. You're not going to see the indentation from the quarter panel where it was welded to the body originally. I don't want to see all that. I want it to be smooth and slick. So that's my idea. So I'm waiting on the door. I want to get it hung on the car before I do any mud on it, so that if I have to weld to the edges, I won't burn my body fill off. So that's why I'm kind of going back to the body of the car and getting all this smoothed up, and then I'll try to hang this door today and try to get it back lined up and fit in the jamb area and get the gap looking good. So a little more sanding to do, and we'll make some more progress here. It's coming along. This is the last little final push. Like I said, I'm hoping in the next couple of I'm hoping next time I get to work on it on my long stretch of days off that I'll be priming it, and then we'll start blocking it again and getting all the little details ironed out some more. So I'm gonna do this jamb, get this door hung, and then I'll get it to the driver's side and do that jamb, because I have not done the jamb, but I have done the door. So it's fine, just smoothing all these out, and got the hinges nice and got them rebuilt and prettied up. They're shiny and should paint up nicely. And once you get all that, once you open the door, you'll see all this. So like I said, that's the whole point of all this. So more sanding, more sanding, more sanding. So I have been working on this door now for 3 days, and I finally got it gapped where I like it. Kind of painted some contrasting paint on the bottom there, because it's about 3 different colors. And then scribed a line along the bottom edge there. And I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some body work on this door as far as filler and stuff like that. It needs a little thin coat over it. This door was a lot better as far as the trim, where I got rid of it and didn't warp it. So it's all in all, it's not gonna need quite as much filler. But I'm gonna just do a whole swath on the bottom edge, sand that, and just go, work my way up to the top there. So like I said, just tightening up the gaps. I've welded in the corner here and get it nice and consistent. And I just got a nice consistent 3/16 gap all the way around the door. And I'm really happy with that. It's been whooping my butt, but I ended up pinning both the hinges, and I pinned the striker plate. I just drilled some holes and put a pin in it, and it captures the the threaded plate in the door jamb there on the front too. And I hid it behind here and up in there, so you really can't even see it once everything's assembled and cleaned up. So I'm pretty happy with that, and it's going to keep this where I want it and not move the door around, because it was moving the door a little bit here and there. And now that I've got this, got my lines lined up and the gaps are really nice. So getting ready to do some mud, and hopefully this door will be pretty well finished until I get my primer on it, and then we'll start blocking it again and we'll find some defects and correct those. So one step at a time. So thanks a lot for watching Big Lake Hot Rods. I appreciate the support and the comments and things like that. They trickle in here and there, but we're making some headway with it. Yeah, sometimes you get stalled out on the project, and so yeah, like I said, making some headway with the body work. We'll get some primer on it in about a week, I hope. That's my plan and that's my goal, and I feel real confident in that. It may be the end of that week, but we'll go from there and get this body straight. Like I said, we'll get it wired and fired, and try to get it to an operable state, and then I'll blow it apart and paint and detail all the little parts and pieces and go from there. I feel like if I can get it fired up, it'll be huge. And it's really close to being wired up as far as completely wired is what I've got to finalize. I did some research, and I've got a set of gears that I'm after for the rear end. And after I get the gears set and the posi and all that good stuff set in there, I'm gonna order a set of axles. And I wanted to do a C-clip eliminator because I've got an 8.8 rear end. But in order to do C-clip eliminator kit, everything's showing that you have to use drum brakes. I'm sure someone out there has done a C-clip eliminator on a disc brake rear end. You know, Cobras and all that for years had C-clip rear ends. So somebody has to have done it. This could be done. If you eliminate the C-clip, obviously axle failure is a big thing with the C-clip, but you can get axles that are custom length, and then you can cut them to fit. So they're a little more user-friendly and wallet-friendly as well. So that's kind of what I was after, but if I can't find them, I can't find them. I have to order some. I'll just have to order some, the length that I need. But yeah, like I said, like, share, subscribe, and I appreciate you watching Big Lake Hot Rods, and we'll catch you next time.